Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to read some stories from Malicious Compliance. First story, won't cancel the service plan? I'd like to file a claim, please. I think this qualifies as malicious compliance as one person being inflexible with the letter of a policy led to the other person to comply with said policy and pursue its options in a way that brought about a change that aligned with the spirit of what was asked for in the first place. My parents had a house fire recently, no fault of theirs, and while the house didn't burn down to the ground, this is important for later, it is basically a total loss due to heat, smoke, and structural damage. They have great replacement insurance. While the long wait for restoration and replacement will be frustrating, they are in as good as a situation as one could hope for. They also have one of those appliance service plans where they pay monthly. If any covered appliance isn't working properly, the service company will send someone out to troubleshoot, repair, and if it can't be repaired, replaced. My parents have the total coverage plan including everything from kitchen to laundry to the freezer chest and mudroom fridge. Since the house is uninhabitable, they called to cancel the service and asked to be prorated this month. My mom explains the situation and the rep on the phone says sorry, they can't prorate this month, nor can they cancel the service for the next payment cycle, even though they are in the middle of this payment cycle. Basically, it will be 45 more days of paying for coverage. My mom states that they are dealing with the stress of a house fire and living in short-term housing, and says, I understand you can't prorate this month, but can you at least cancel the service for next month based on our situation? The rep says, well, I'm happy to cancel the service effective today if that's what you really want, but you will still have to pay for this month and next month. I can tell you from personal experience, it's a bad idea to get cute with my mom. My mom says, okay, no. We aren't going to cancel a service we still have to pay for. Please keep the service in place. Instead, I like to file a claim on all of our appliances. There is a pause, and the rep says, you can't do that on appliances destroyed by fire. My mom says, oh no, the house was damaged, but the appliances weren't destroyed. Since this plan is effective through next month, please start a claim to send a service rep out to the house for all of our covered appliances and do any repairs or replacements as needed. There is another pause, and the rep asks her to hold. A few minutes later, a supervisor gets on the line and says that due to the circumstances, they are happy to make an exception to cancel coverage early if she would like. Yes, thank you, she says. For anyone thinking my parents should have seen the malicious compliance to the end, they got what they initially asked for, and to do so would have foregone personal benefit for spite since the appliances will be covered by home insurance anyway. I think they should have still gone through with the malicious compliance. Someone says, love it when customers are smarter than corporations at their very own game. Voting for mom to head medical and insurance reform. A response to this, hashtag Luigi approved. Someone says, the people's patriot. Another response, oh, I have to keep your service? Well, then come out here and do what I pay you for. This is great. Kudos to your mom, both for making them give her what she wanted / was entitled to, and for not throwing that away just because they pissed her off. Yeah, I totally agree with this comment. It would have been better to ask for repair or replacements and stick with it. Story number 2, I have to eat vegetables? Okay. This might not count as malicious. Is there a sub for polite compliance? When I was a kid, my mom's rule was no dessert if you don't eat your vegetables. Once when she served peas, I conspicuously picked up 2 and said, I'm eating my vegetables before popping them into my mouth. I pointed out that she hadn't said that I had to eat all of them, but since she used the plural, I ate 2, thus satisfying her requirement. Of course, this trick only worked once before this rule was changed. Story number 3, 4-year-old malicious compliance practitioner in training, French fry edition. At lunch, my 4-year-old niece, Eliza, being less than generous, her mom says, can I have one of your fries? Eliza, carefully studying the remaining fries, selects one approximately 1 centimeter long and offers it up. Her dad says, Eliza, that's not very nice. You should give your mommy a bigger fry. She goes, this is a French fry. It is a small French fry. It is a French fry. Daddy says, sweetie, we do not need any more lawyers in this family. Top comment says, that girl will go far in life. She already set the boundaries needed to protect her fries as much as possible. Good luck to her parents on future negotiations. OP says, this is a girl who, when I asked her at age 7 what she and her friends were going to do at her slumber party, referred me to the agenda she had written out on the chalkboard. Someone else says, reminds me of my daughter. I realized she was destined to be an attorney when she would out-argue me at 4 and 5 years old. I was right. She now works as an assistant district attorney. Story number 4, assigned seat? You sure about that? When my wife and I were in college in the late 80s, we had mandatory chapel. They took roll by observing empty seats and then assessing a fine after so many absences. We came to college after my stint in the military. We arrived with 2 small children. The youngest was only a couple of months old, and he was a screamer when upset. When we were getting our chapel seats, we asked to be close to the back and on the end so that we could take the baby out if necessary. We ended up in the middle row L, the last row being AA. We said okay, we made friends with our nearby students. We are still friends to this day. Several weeks into the semester, the school president begins addressing the assembly, and my son loses his mind. He's screaming like he's being killed in a pitch that will almost shatter glass. He's not wet, he won't take a bottle or pacifier. I start to make my way past 6 or 7 people on the aisle. My wife, through clenched teeth, says, "Don't you dare move." So little man caterwauls for 35 full minutes, stopping almost immediately when we get up. After chapel, we gather in the student union to get lunch and regroup before our next classes. Here comes the dean of students. "So, I was wondering if y'all would be interested in moving to a seat near the back on the aisle?" My wife said, sweet as pie, "We asked for that when we registered. We were told that it wasn't possible. Now we and the kids have made friends with the folks around us." Dean says, "Can we move all of you?" The rest of the time there, we and our compadres sat no closer than row V. Someone says, "Mandatory chapel is a wild concept." Indeed, indeed. Story number 5. This one's fun. Throw your receipt at me, have fun picking it up from the trash. I worked at a hardware store about 7 years ago. We sold big gas bottles, 11 kilograms or 24 in freedom units of LPG. And if you brought in an empty bottle, we would give you a filled one in exchange for a price. How it worked was that the customer came to the checkout, expressed their wishes on what kind of bottle they needed, and paid. The gas bottles were given to them outside the store at a loading station for bigger goods. The checkout machine would print automatically 2 receipts, one normal receipt and one the customer would hand over to the worker in the loading station outside the store as proof that they paid for the gas. By law, we had to always verbally offer a receipt to every customer. This is to prevent selling things under the table, and the cashier would get fined if they didn't offer a receipt. So a lot of customers automatically deny having the receipt and just tell you, "No receipt thanks," before even opening your mouth. Some take the receipt but just drop it directly at the trash bins right after the checkout. In comes the villain. A middle-aged man who wants to exchange his empty bottle to a filled one. He's being a generic a-hole and barely acknowledged me, a cashier in my mid-20s. He pays and takes the receipt. He crumples them up and throws them at me. He said he didn't need a receipt. Working in customer service was not a peak career point, and as every sane person knows, customers are often wrong. However, never ever had I been disrespected so much that someone would throw a piece of trash at me. In kicks malicious compliance. I knew the dude needed a receipt to get what he paid for, so I took the receipt ball that he made, dropped it quickly to the big trash bin next to me, and started helping the next customer in line. The disrespectful man took a few steps away, realized his mistake, and said he actually needs the receipt back. I was busy already with the next customer, so with the brightest smile and happy tone I said, "Sure, it's in here," and handed him the trash bin. Divine Justice had also arranged it so that we had cleaned the checkout floors quite recently and emptied the dust into the trash bin. He had to handpick his receipt ball from the middle of gray dust, old chewing gum, and whatever else yucky stuff had ended up in the huge bin. I'm glad to say the a-hole turned a lot nicer and lost his demeaning attitude as he was shuffling through the trash. Top comment: what is with people throwing stuff at customer service people? I caddied at the local country club when I was a teen, and a member I was caddying for said, "Throw this away from me," and tossed a half-full can of Diet Coke at me. I let it hit me in the chest and fall to the ground. Looked down at the Diet Coke all over my caddy smock, dropped his bag and told him to carry his own clubs. Walked back to the clubhouse. The PGA pro at the club made him apologize, and he wasn't allowed to use a caddy for years. Someone responds to this: I worked at a bank just out of high school. Had a guy pitch his huge wallet at me when I asked for ID, saying, "I've been a customer forever." My manager closed all of his accounts, so he wasn't a customer anymore. Too bad for him, he had outstanding checks that got bounced all around town. Sorry, not sorry. Revenge is best served dusty. This is a good one. I worked in a spot in college with a similar setup. One of the girls I worked with would also run into this kind of behavior from time to time. Because of this, she kept a water bottle with a small hole punched into the lid, hidden below the counter. When someone would do something like this, she would quietly use the water bottle to squirt down the receipts in the trash can. When the rude customer would come back for the receipt or confirmation slip, They had to sift through soggy receipts for a bit before defeatedly accepting that they had to stand in line all over again to get a reprint. This was especially fun to watch in the mornings when the contractor line was fairly long. Another responder to OP. I was waiting tables years ago and a person was so rude, so demanding. When she got to leave, she left her keys in the booth. I tossed them in the trash. She spent the next 30 minutes digging around our trash looking for them. Through half-eaten and discarded food, never did find them. Final story, turn the water on when you're using the bathroom. My department shares a downstairs bathroom with another department and 2 secretaries. The bathroom is 15 feet from one of the secretaries' desks and the customer service desk. When I started working here, I was told the upstairs bathroom is the shitter and the downstairs bathroom is the pisser. I adhere to this important policy religiously. After 4 months, my boss pulled me aside about the downstairs bathroom. He asked if I was turning on the water when I was taking a piss, and I told him no. The secretary closest to the bathroom, Amanda, had complained that she could hear me pee and it made her uncomfortable. My boss asked me to turn on the sink faucet when I'm in there to appease Amanda. So today, I use the bathroom downstairs and turn the faucet on as requested. As I am peeing, I feel gas pressure build up. I took the opportunity to push the loudest and longest fart possible. It echoed like a bomb went off. After I finish, I clean up and walk out to see Amanda fuming. Within 3 minutes, my boss gets up to see her because she requested to talk to him. She complained about how she heard me fart and it was unacceptable in the office setting. My boss asked her, "Was the water running?" Amanda said, "Yeah, but..." My boss cut her off and said, "We're done here." He came back with a giant grin and gave me a high five. Talk comment says, "If the toilets are close enough to the service desk that people hear unpleasant sounds, there needs to be better soundproofing to solve the problem for everyone." That is true. Someone else says, "Go to HR and ask why it is acceptable for someone to complain about someone peeing and farting in the bathroom. See if they have a policy about frivolous complaints. It would be different if you were farting each time it went by the person's desk, but this doesn't seem to be the case. Let her explain to them how she is uncomfortable by someone doing a normal work and life appropriate bodily function." Hey, thanks for listening and subscribing and commenting. I'll see you in the next video.